Chapter 3. Sky pulled the Jag into the valet parking at the entrance to the Ritz Marina del Rey. The portly valet assisted Chandra out the passenger side and handed her the tote from inside the car. She felt jazzed to be there, as it was one of the first places she had come to with Sky after they had pledged their love to each other. She knew what lay in store for her up in the richly decorated room, but she felt she needed a drink and some company first. She had to be in the right mindset. It would be the first time she'd made love again after Billy, and her nerves were a little raw since then. "Babe, can we get a drink by the pool first?" she asked, giving him the doe eyes he so often admired. When she looked at him like that, he couldn't resist giving her whatever she wanted. "Anything for my love," he said, tipping the valet and taking her tote while leading her towards the crystal-clear blue waters of the pool deck on the top of the roof. She wanted him at the feel of his body so close to hers, but she needed that calm reassurance of time and trust first. Trust that he was in the right mindset, and an even deeper trust in her own heart to not do anything she might regret later. For if Sky started with his passive-aggressive jealousy right now, she might be very tempted to let him have it. If he really wanted to be jealous, she would give him something to be jealous about. And Billy Tavish was that something. And she felt a guilt rise up in her chest for even thinking it. She knew she wasn't anything more to Billy than a good friend, but if their tryst could be used as leverage with Sky's demeanor, then she just might make it happen. When they got to the top floor, Sky requested a cabana seat away from the crowd, 2 tall drinks with ice, and a bottle of the best champagne for the room. His pulse quickened when Chandra slipped out of her jacket to reveal a tight bustier. The evening air seemed more dewy now that a small fog was rolling in off the water, and the cabana faced the ocean where a sliver of moon shone over the horizon. Chandra sat in the plush chaise while an island rhythm played on the sound system. Sky tucked in next to her and put his hand on her leg. Heat and magnetism rose up in both of them, and again Chandra steadied her pulse. The drinks arrived, and not a second too late, Chandra took a long sip of the icy Mai Tai and eyed Sky, who was sipping something tropical. She readied herself for the conversation that was coming. She already knew him so well. "I missed you, babe," he said as the drink and the night air eased his tension. "How was the seminar?" he asked, with no outward implication that this could be the mind trap he was secretly intending. She felt it enter his field and readied herself. "It was amazing," she said deftly. "We had so many people show up for my talk. I had a great time," she said, pausing. "Thank you, Sky," she said, trying to infuse an energy of love and compassion for him, knowing with all her heart how his shadows often led him astray. Well, it was a lesson they chose to have together. She reminded herself of the bigger picture, something Sky didn't believe in, but nonetheless was how it was. "So, what did you do with all that free time?" He expertly changed the subject back to her. "Did you meet anyone you knew there?" What? Chandra thought to herself. Here he goes now. She wanted to lie to him so badly, but for some reason she just couldn't stop herself. "I saw an old friend from a while back," she said, her tongue loose from the liquor. "You remember Billy Tavish," she said nonchalantly. Oh, how he recalled Billy Tavish. Sky's mind immediately leapt to the worst-case scenario he had known way back when, how Billy and Chandra looked together, and it wasn't boding well in his mind. Why in the hell did I just say that? Chandra thought to herself, as instead of putting the drink down, she took an even longer sip down to the bottom of the glass. "Can I have another, please?" she asked warmly. "Well, of course," Sky said. Oh, now he's getting southern. Said he was pretty proud of himself for deceiving the deceiver. Anything for the girl that fucked Billy Tavish. Oh, his mind trapped his body from lashing out too harshly. Rather, he stood up from the chaise and slapped his hands together for the waiter. Chandra was up and on her feet, although wobbly from the strong drink and lack of a good meal. "Sky, this isn't the place," she warned him, but at the same time she needed him to steady her. "Let's go to our room, please." She wanted him to herself now, so she could escape roving eyes and ears. "This isn't the place," she said, almost pleading. Sure, let's get it on, he almost yelled. Now for the waiter. Let's see what a good fucking can do for a girl, he said with a tease and a feeling of quiet rage. She hadn't even said anything to him, and yet why in the world had she mentioned Billy's name? She felt as if unseen forces were guiding this encounter. She had to trust that her guides were helping her here, even if it didn't seem so at the moment. Let's go, Sky. We can order room service and talk for a while. I need you to understand something, she said to him quietly as the waiter appeared. That didn't sound quietly, but it's quietly. As the waiter appeared with a large bouncer behind. Mr. Monroe, we don't want any trouble here, the waiter said with aplomb, but ready to set the burly bouncer on him if he reacted again. Oh, I'm sorry, man, I'm sorry, Sky said, tipping him with a $50 bill. Can you get us to our room, please, and send up some dinner? No hard feelings. He patted the waiter on the back and smiled deftly at the bouncer. If you ever need a job, come see me. Sky gleamed a quick smile at the bouncer while slipping his card in the front pocket of the large man's vest. My wife needs to get out of here. She's not feeling well, he said, leading Chandra tightly by the arm towards the elevator. She didn't like it, but she would let him for now. Sky was a jealous lover, but he was no fool. He wouldn't do anything to harm his reputation around SoCal. So as the elevator counted down the floors to the suite level, Sky turned to Chandra and the otherwise empty elevator and grabbed her in his arms, laying a passionate kiss on her lips that she couldn't resist folding into. He released her quickly. Let's see what happens now, Chandra, he said, with a softness he truly did feel when he held her. Let's see if he's as good as me. The elevator doors opened and he led her, knees wobbling from desire and fear, into suite 240 of the Ritz and into who knows what awaited on the other side of that door. Chapter 4. Begin again. As the door closed behind them, Chandra placed her hand on the doorknob, ready to walk out if he got violent. He had never touched her, but she knew all too well of his jealous rage, and if he couldn't heal it, that would only continue to grow inside him. Images of his parking lot attack on Rob Strom flashed across her third eye, knowing that Sky would do anything to defend the women he loved, even if it meant hurting them at the same time, for his jealousy caused a rift that was hard to come back from. It had been months since Sky had talked to Jade since that fight over Rob. Chandra knew Sky missed her, but back to the now and the room. Sky pulled off his shirt, exposing a body that always made her quiver inside, and with expert attention to detail, as was his moniker, he walked over to her and placed his hand over her heart. Tell me you love me, Chandra. I have to hear it, he said, moistening his lips at the ready to hear something different. Chandra wasn't thinking about that at the moment. Professions of love were far from her mind as she internally wrestled with telling him everything and telling him nothing. But telling him she loved him was not the plan. It was stroke his ego too much and get into all the right places. And now, after his outburst, she didn't want to see Billy's eyes every time she was looking up at Sky mounted over her. The turmoil and twisting, turning emotions within them both longed to be addressed, but neither one was fully able to express what was happening here. So complicated, Chandra thought to herself. It was almost easier to be alone now. She couldn't believe what she was thinking. She knew this was a romantic and karmic contract, but she was tired of trying, tired of making up, tired of him pulling away. She never knew what to expect with him. Hot or cold, he always ran on the extreme of both. Gathering her courage and her bag, she only said 2 words before opening the door and walking away. I'm done.